a lot of my priority in Congress has been on flood mitigation and trying to make sure my colleagues understand the investments and how those can be really proactive. And I think what's really encouraging, having had the conversations today, was that you can not only invest in flood mitigation, but you can do so in a way that really benefits your community. So whether it's here in Dubuque, I've seen the same thing with the flood mitigation project in Cedar Rapids. They're great examples for how you can do this and really have a measurable impact on water management. And that's what my biggest takeaway is today.
Maybe especially on appropriations, where do you gauge the appetite from people, from coasts or places where flooding's not this kind of flooding is not a problem?
Right. Well, there's flooding everywhere, and I think that if there's one thing that I've had conversations with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle is that you can effectively manage risk, and we need to be thinking about those investments in a proactive way. And so I've had, for instance, partnered with the American Flood Coalition to do sessions on risk rating 2.0, the flood institute, flood insurance changes, and risk management there with my colleagues. You had people from all over the country joining on both sides of the aisle. So I think this is a great opportunity to continue that conversation about how those dollars can really be most effective and have a measurable reduction. There's a lot of talk about climate right now. I think this is a great example of how we can make those dollars go further with a real measurable impact.
They mentioned watershed management authority funding running dry. I don't know if you see any place for to re-up that or refill that.
Well, and what they were talking about kind of some of the cost share programs, obviously, and I think that the demand is clearly there, so we can continue to look for opportunities to do that. One of the biggest pieces of feedback I get from farmers is, hey, we would love to take part in these programs. A lot of them are doing it on a voluntary basis right now, but sometimes an added incentive can increase participation there. So I'll continue to look at opportunities to do that as long as there's good ROI on, if you can measure, okay, if we're taking this cropland out of production, and let's say it does contribute to water management, and we can quantify that, that's an easier sell to my colleagues for spending tax dollars toward those programs.
And then I think we just had a lot of talk about climate right now. Is there any amount of greenhouse gas reduction as kind of flood prevention that you would support, and what would that look like?
Well, I'm not sure specifically with this project if they've been able to quantify. That was some of the questions I asked today was like, can you quantify a lot of these other things? But I think looking at the investment that they've made in the green spaces, and for instance, they're using it as a soil conservation tool, but no doubt has an impact on carbon emissions too. So I think that's a win-win. So that's why I think supporting a project like this in a very targeted way is how we should be doing things. In many cases, a lot of these projects, as we were talking with them, with the flood center around the state, are public-private partnerships. This example obviously was mostly city-driven, but they talked about a lot of these other watershed management cooperation, basically, that is happening in Middle Cedar, where I live, specifically in Cedar Rapids. That's a public-private partnership up and down the river. So continuing to encourage those kinds of partnerships and investments where it's public-private funds